Clip of one of the assistant coaches chasing Caitlin Clark down as she's riling up the crowd. And it seems like she's getting scolded, reprimanded, told, hey, all that hyping up, don't do that. Don't do it. Let's take a look here first. Now here we go. Body language doctor. Body language doctor is out and about. Caitlin Clark's like, what the hell?
This startling moment captured on camera shows a WNBA coach reaching out and physically restraining star player Caitlin Clark right in the midst of a team celebration. It wasn't a congratulatory gesture or a quick coaching correction. It appeared more like a public reprimand, and it's left countless viewers asking one thing: what's really going on? This wasn't just an odd outburst. It's arguably the most visible evidence of an ongoing, quiet effort to undermine Clark behind the scenes. She's been met with distant teammates, puzzling coaching calls, and a franchise that appears to be sidelining the one athlete who could actually put them on the map.
Has gotten to the point where she realizes if she gives the ball to Natasha Howard, not only is she not going to get the ball back, but Natasha Howard isn't even going to look in her direction. We have officially reached that.
To truly grasp the intensity of what happened next, you need to rewind to the energy just moments before that Indiana Fever were in full control of the game, leading by 20. The atmosphere was electric, buzzing with excitement from a wave of new fans who had packed the arena for one reason. Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation, was commanding the court, and with the ball in her hands, everything seemed to revolve around her. She executed one of her trademark step-back three-pointers, and the swish of the net was barely audible over the explosion of cheers. That was the Caitlin Clark effect, electrifying and exactly the surge of energy the WNBA has long needed. But just as she turned to soak in the crowd's thunderous approval, riding the momentum she'd sparked, something unexpected happened. From the bench, assistant coach Karima Christmas-Kelly suddenly rushed toward her, not with praise or celebration, but with both hands outstretched. She grabbed Clark, pulling her away from the moment and the fans in a move that stunned everyone. What?
So look, I don't think it's any secret that I'm not a fan of the Indiana Fever backroom staff. I'm not a fan of what they're trying to do to Caitlin Clark, and I fully believe they're trying to diminish, they're trying to dim the flame of Caitlin, and they're trying to make her fit in to what the WNBA used to be, rather than fit out and be her. I mean that. Like, that is my opinion, and there's no question about it.
In a split second, a whirlwind of emotion played out on Caitlin Clark's face. First came the exhilaration of the moment, pure, unfiltered joy. Then, the sudden shock of being physically stopped. Finally, a visible wave of confusion and disbelief. The celebration had been cut short, snuffed out not by an opponent but by her own bench. But this moment went beyond awkwardness. It carried symbolism. It served as a powerful snapshot of her entire rookie experience. A rising star being restrained by the very system meant to elevate her. For the fans in the arena and the millions watching from home, the message couldn't have been more clear here in Indiana. Even excitement needs permission, and momentum isn't embraced, it's controlled.
So everybody online is talking about this play during one of the games where, as you're going to see, one of the coaches for the Indiana Fever just went and pretty much almost tackled Caitlin Clark for getting the crowd riled up. Man, why is she doing it? And I want to say that's this lady right here, Karima Christmas-Kelly, one of the assistant coaches. And as you see right there, she just seemed to have went and grabbed the Caitlin Clark, as Caitlin Clark was trying to get the team, the crowd amped up for a big time game.
The questions didn't end with the coaching staff. What unfolded on the court painted an even more puzzling and unsettling picture. The viral moment of physical restraint was just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath that dramatic scene lies a quieter, more persistent tension that's been brewing all season. For weeks, then months, murmurs among fans turned into widespread speculation. Was Caitlin Clark being deliberately sidelined by her own teammates? Many believed so. The theory suggested that some veteran players were intentionally shutting her out of the offense, overlooking her even when she was clearly in position to make a play. The clearest example, a matchup against the New York Liberty. Clark stood, wide open on the wing, ready for a clean look. But her teammate, Natasha Howard, seemed to glance everywhere but toward her, opting not to make the pass. That single moment became a lightning rod, fueling the belief that something deeper and more deliberate was at play.
This clip getting shown again, and it's just, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable. Like, if a coach did this to any other player in the league, they'd be fired. Or they'd at least be questionable and being fired. Then goes and hits a step back three on JC Sheldon. And she goes, the whole crowd's going nuts. And she comes, and she's getting subbed off, by the way, at this stage. She's getting subbed off for the game. She doesn't go back in the game at this stage. So it's not like it's a close game. They're up 20. She does not see the floor again. Caitlin Clark is there hyping up the crowd. She's there trying to hype up the crowd. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. You want to see this version of Caitlin. You want to see this player. And watch what happens here. So the coach just grabs her. Just grabs her out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything too malicious in that. I don't know if there's anything too malicious. We don't know what's said. But like, you can't just grab.
The pass never came, done in what appeared to be a moment of quiet frustration. Caitlin Clark simply stopped, bent down, and tied her shoe, almost as if accepting that she had no role to play in the possession. It was a small, everyday action, but one that spoke louder than any outburst ever could. It exposed a team dynamic that felt fractured and disconnected. This wasn't just a routine oversight in a fast-moving game. It felt intentional, like a silent protest playing out in front of everyone. For many watching, it confirmed long suspicions. Despite being the most high-profile player in the league, Clark was being treated as if she wasn't even there. It didn't look like team basketball. It looked like an underhanded power struggle unfolding in real time. And it hinted at something much deeper and more troubling within the team than just missed plays or flawed tactics.
That is transpiring with the Indiana Fever, but I said this yesterday, there is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the third situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. We had the Natasha Howard situation where Caitlin Clark bent down to tie her shoe up because she knew Natasha Howard wasn't even going to pass her the damn ball. And I'm telling you right now, that whole situation is crazy in itself. Ever since DeWanna Bonner been gone, they have simply turned this thing into the Natasha Howard team.
While some players appeared detached or indifferent, the head coach's approach raised even more eyebrows. Christy Sides, the person entrusted with the responsibility of building a winning roster around a once-in-a-generation talent, has made a string of decisions that have left fans, commentators, and even casual viewers scratching their heads. A frustrating pattern began to emerge, just as Clark would catch fire, knocking down consecutive threes. Fueling the offense and energizing the entire team, she'd suddenly be subbed out. Despite being in rhythm and clearly elevating the play around her, she'd be sent to the bench, forced to watch as the spark she lit quickly faded. With her off the court, the team's offensive flow often broke down. Leads shrank, momentum stalled, and more often than not, so did their hopes of closing out the game strong.
Last season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was 26.5% of all economic activity as a rookie. Merchandise in the league went up 234%. But here was the one that struck me. Before she got there, the Indiana Fever, the valuation of the franchise was $90 million. After playing, 40 games, the valuation of that team now is $340 million. I don't think it's a game you duplicate. There is no second Steph Curry. There is no other player that plays like that. She could be $1 billion athlete. Like, when I see these numbers, I'm like, oh, this is high.
It flew in the face of everything we know about basketball. You don't bench your top scorer when she's in the zone, especially not when your team is struggling to string together wins. The choices being made sparked a troubling question among Fever fans and WNBA watchers alike. Was this simply coaching ineptitude on a historic scale, or was there something more calculated at play? Was the aim really to win, or was it to manage Clark's rise to keep her from becoming too influential, too fast, even if it meant sacrificing victories along the way? From the rotation patterns to the play calling, the entire system seemed less geared toward maximizing her brilliance and more focused on containing it. The strategy didn't look like it was built to win. It looked like a subtle power move, a way to remind everyone, including Clark, exactly who held the reins.
Has been knocked on her ass. She's been knocked on her ass. She's been cheap shotted. She's been poked in the eye. Everything. They have beat the Connecticut Sun. This is a month ago nearly. The Connecticut Sun beat the crap out of her. Absolutely beat the crap out of each other. But
Unusual behavior on the court is often just the surface. What lies beneath is usually more personal, more complicated. And in this case, all signs point to tension in the locker room. No one's gone on record, but the atmosphere suggests an unspoken conflict simmering just beneath the surface. Caitlin Clark didn't enter the league like most rookies. She stepped into the WNBA as a full-blown superstar, instantly commanding headlines and attention that far outshined the seasoned veterans who had been grinding away for years with little recognition. That kind of overnight shift in team dynamics can stir up strong emotions, jealousy, resentment, and a sense of displacement. It shows in the way the team plays. The Fever often resemble 5 individuals sharing the court, each running their own script, rather than a united squad pushing toward a shared goal.
Body had put on there, has this coach been reprimanded, suspended, fired? This is really terrible behavior. What is happening behind the scenes? If the WNBA wants to do an investigation, they might want to look into the Fever staff treatment of Caitlin Clark. And you see right here, women are equal, correct? We all know the story. This would be if there were a male coach, why the double standard? Fire her. Coach's posture is interesting. I remember seeing it live and thought it was weird.
The passes often look half-hearted, predictable. Defensive rotations are missed, and the overall cohesion is nowhere to be found. What's playing out feels like a classic generational standoff. Veteran players struggling to adjust to the sudden rise of a new face of the franchise they didn't see coming. From the moment she entered the league, the front office made it clear this was Caitlin Clark's team. But based on the body language and on-court behavior, it seems not everyone bought in. Some may have ignored that message, actively rejected it. The outcome: a fractured, uneasy team dynamic where the player meant to lead the franchise forward is left to battle not only rival teams, but the egos and unwritten politics within her own locker room.
No one is giving you a chance, and it's not fun no more. Angel Reese fans no longer making it fun. They've been very draining and exhausting. The Caitlin Clark haters is no longer making it fun. They draining and exhausting. Your fans, some of the CC fans are no longer making it fun. They are draining and exhausting. No one, not one, is giving you the opportunity in your era to grow, for you to get better. Everyone has high expectations of you because of what you did your first year.
And this is where the story shifts from team tension to something that borders on the unbelievable. Amid the internal friction, questionable coaching choices, and on-court isolation, Caitlin Clark is quietly transforming the financial landscape of the entire WNBA without exaggeration. She's become the league's most valuable asset. Viewership for Indiana Fever games has skyrocketed by over 1,000% in some markets. League-wide merchandise sales have more than tripled, with Clark's jersey breaking records as the best-selling of any athlete in any sport at launch. But the most jaw-dropping figure: before she ever wore a Fever jersey, the franchise was worth around $90 million. Just a few months into the Caitlin Clark era, that valuation has reportedly surged to an estimated $340 million. That's not just impact, that's a revolution.
Basically wrecked. This is one of the worst decisions that I have ever seen any league engage in. Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw for a team sport in my life relative to the audience that would be fans of the sport without her. Bigger than Michael Jordan was for the NBA, bigger than any NFL star has ever been. All of those sports were very popular before those athletes got there. Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Every game she is dropping golden eggs, and they are trying to strangle the golden goose to death. It's one of the dumbest things.
Caitlin Clark is far more than just a basketball player. She's a financial catalyst, a media sensation, and a cultural force wrapped into one, which makes the situation surrounding her all the more puzzling. Why would anyone attempt to downplay, control, or even sabotage the most valuable figure the sport has ever seen? From a business angle, it defies all logic. It's like discovering a gold mine and complaining about the shovel. That's why so many now believe this has nothing to do with basketball strategy or long-term planning. At its core, it looks like a battle of ego and control, a coaching staff and leadership team seemingly more threatened by her rising influence than inspired by it.
Now, I said this yesterday. I'm all for the veteran players. But at the end of the day, did we all forget that this is Caitlin's team? Like, did y'all just throw that whole situation out the window? Number 1 draft pick, rookie of the year, breaking all the damn records like they're scratch-offs? Bruh, what is we doing here, dog? I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that they tripping, man, at this point in time. I mean, I want to see the Caitlyn we seen at Iowa. What happened to the Iowa CC? The greatness. I mean, bruh, we haven't seen the Logo 3 in a month.
The resistance to Caitlin Clark's ascent doesn't stop at the Indiana Fever's locker room. It seems to stretch across the entire WNBA. Instead of embracing the league's fastest rising star, many within the league have responded with visible discomfort, even hostility. On the court, Clark has endured a barrage of overly aggressive defense hard fouls, cheap shots, and off-ball hits that are rarely penalized and often brushed off as part of a rookie's initiation. One incident, in particular, became a flashpoint. Chicago Sky's Chennedy Carter delivered a blatant blindside shoulder check well away from the ball. It wasn't a defensive play, it was a deliberate hit. For many fans, that moment crossed the line, yet the league's response was restrained at best, and perhaps most troubling of all, her own team and coaching staff offered little public support, no vocal condemnation, no protective statements. The silence spoke volumes.
Caitlin Clark, this is for Caitlin. If you're not Caitlin, keep it pushing. Okay, this is for Caitlin only. Caitlin, what I'm about to tell you as a supporter of yours, as a fan of yours, that has been watching you since Iowa, I'm gonna hold your hand when I tell you this. The WNBA, it's time to wrap that shit up. Okay, it's time to go. Pack your shit up. Let's go. I don't want this for you no more. Okay, I've been here. I don't want this for you no more. It's too much expectation. It's all about race. It's too biased. Everybody just.
What's unfolding around Caitlin Clark has gone beyond strange team dynamics. It's evolved into something that feels utterly surreal. As internal rifts, questionable coaching calls, and on-court neglect continue to mount, Clark is simultaneously reshaping the financial and cultural future of the WNBA. She's not just a rookie. She's a walking economic engine, a media magnet, and a generational icon. Viewership for Fever games has skyrocketed in multiple markets. Jersey sales have shattered records, and her arrival has triggered a complete re-evaluation of franchise value, ballooning Indiana's worth from $90 million to an estimated $340 million in just months. And yet, the most valuable asset the league has ever had is being treated like a threat instead of a gift. Why? That's the question on every fan's mind. Why contain the very force transforming your sport? Because this doesn't seem to be about strategy or winning anymore. It feels like ego, power dynamics, a coaching staff and front office more concerned with control than growth. And that resistance doesn't stop at the Fever's facility. It echoes across the entire league. Clark has taken more punishment on the floor than most rookies would ever be expected to endure. Cheap shots, hard fouls, off-ball hits that officials often ignore or downplay. The blindside blow from Chicago's Chennedy Carter was a defining moment, not a play, but a blatant hit. Yet the league's response was muted, and disturbingly, her own team barely pushed back in her defense. That silence sparked a growing perception. Clark is being punished for rising too fast, for attracting too much attention, and for refusing to conform to the league's unwritten codes. She didn't arrive to play politics, she came to play basketball, and she brought with her millions of new fans the old guard seems unwilling or unable to fully embrace. And now, instead of being protected and uplifted, she's forced to navigate an increasingly hostile environment, not just against defenders trying to shut her down, but against an ecosystem that seems intent on dimming her light. You can see the toll it's taking. The confident, fiery competitor who brought swagger and joy to every game at Iowa, the player who trash-talked opponents and sank logo threes with a grin, now looks burdened. On the bench after being pulled during a hot streak, she stares toward the sky in disbelief. When teammates ignore her wide-open cuts, her shoulders sag. The joy that made her magnetic is being slowly drained, not by the challenge of professional play, but by a system seemingly designed to resist her at every turn. This isn't a temporary slump. It's the emotional wear and tear of battling not just opponents, but her own team, her coaches, and an unforgiving spotlight every single night. And fans are noticing loudly. What started as confusion has become fury. Social media platforms, forums, podcasts, and comment sections are erupting with outrage. They're no longer chalking it up to rookie growing pains. They're calling it what it increasingly appears to be: jealousy, exclusion, and sabotage. See it all: the missed passes, the cold shoulders, the puzzling substitutions. They're connecting the dots. For many, this isn't just about basketball. It's about an entrenched culture threatened by someone who doesn't play by its outdated rules. The Indiana Fever and the WNBA now face more than a developmental challenge. They're staring down a full-scale PR crisis. A wave of new fans didn't just come for the league, they came for Caitlin, and they're not going to sit quietly while she's mistreated. What's happening is a textbook example of how to mishandle a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Clark didn't just bring talent, she brought sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV, ratings, and global attention. And yet, instead of being celebrated as the future, she's being treated like a disruption. Here's the part that should terrify the Fever and the league. Clark holds all the leverage. Each bizarre benching, each uncalled foul, each moment of internal disconnect pushes her closer to a point of no return. Somewhere another franchise is already preparing, clearing cap space, sketching out trade scenarios, quietly planning a future with her at the center, because the truth is simple. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the Indiana Fever, but the Fever, and arguably the entire WNBA desperately need her. And if they lose her, they won't just lose a star. They'll lose the momentum, the visibility, and the unprecedented attention she brought with her. They were handed a lottery ticket on instead of cashing it. They're holding it up to the light, squinting, and questioning if it's even real. If they don't realize the value they have before it's too late, they won't just fade back into obscurity. They'll be remembered for letting the brightest light in the sport walk away, the future of the league with her.